Welcome back, another episode. Accused by examining the societal injustice that the Navajo people face as well as their strong love and familial ties, Season 3 Episode 6 immerses viewers fully in the Navajo culture. The episode features a just leader named Naataanii. He is a very committed supporter who values development and peace. His sense of obligation to ensure his people's safety comes close to surpassing his sense of pride. Even though Naataanii approaches the problem without using violence, he is faced with roughness and aggressive police techniques. He and his sister are held in a kennel with scores of members of their tribe as the anti-uranium mining demonstrations turn violent. Their worries and justifiable outrage go unanswered. Chase is introduced to us. He comes out as a hothead who is seeking revenge for his sister's illness. He had a front row seat to see his usually healthy sister degenerate because the mines have been sickening their people. The truth is that uranium mining damages the Navajo more than any financial return could possibly justify, despite the fact that the powers that be may view it as a profitable and fruitful source for them. Again, no one responds to their calls. Chase and Naataanii stand for two opposing views of Native Americans, the placid, tolerant ideal and the resilient warrior. Chase may have appeared wild, but his wrath was well-founded. He was a child, and the world that had been made to guard him seemed to despise him. The show repeatedly highlighted the tremendous levels of oppression in their neighborhood. It was clear that the judge didn't care about their language or culture. Both their words and their deeds were brutal, and it was painful to witness. It makes sense that they would turn to drastic tactics as a result. We observe Naataanii's transformation from a composed individual to one who is in need of solutions. A recurring theme in the Accused series is the protagonist's conviction that they alone are capable of resolving the problems their loved ones are experiencing. There's nothing special about this episode. Although Naataanii frequently alluded to the tribal council, he ultimately agreed to a plan that went against who he was, yet another recurring motif in Accused. This episode demonstrated how oppression destroys people even if there is no obvious mental health problem. They scream in any way they can think of because their voices are taken away. Although Naataanii underwent the biggest change in this episode, it was really about much more than just him. His sister Shandian experienced heartache when she discovered that the man she had previously loved was a vindictive liar. Every interaction was infused with her affection for Derek. She was hurt that he left, but you could sense hope in her eyes now that he was back. She prayed that in some way the apparent glamour of the outside world would be much outweighed by his allegiance to their tribe and his love for her. Although his treachery stung deeply, emotions were still raw. She was obliterated when Derek was shot and died. The plot was moved and steered by her gullibility and capacity to influence her brother. More than anything else, Naataanii was persuaded by her heartfelt cries. She was therefore extremely guilty when they stood trial. Derek and the possibility of their reconciliation would both still be alive today if she had listened to her brother. She wrote and sang her fervent pleas to Derek and Naataanii beautifully. Chase seemed to be on the verge of erupting as you watched. Though it seems like he has the least to lose, Naataanii ends up holding the pistol. When Chase asks for Derek to be killed, we all know in our hearts that this is not in Chase's nature. Chase seeks vengeance, but not at the cost of another person's life. It is frustrating to be young and passionate but still go unnoticed or unheard. The judge made numerous attempts to restrain Chase. His contempt for the indigenous bailiff was evident since his identity is rooted in his pride in his culture. The bailiff was in a challenging situation. These people were hers. She had two options: try to speak up, as the lawyer repeatedly did, or continue working. She saw the judge handle the accused in a rude and abusive manner. She also didn't have a voice to utilize, as she did so frequently in this episode. Naataanii simply wanted to be heard. He wasn't quite an anti-hero or a hero. He kept trying to alter the social dynamics of their neighborhood. But he couldn't, so he gave in to Derek's misguided scheme. Derek hurt everyone he cared about by accepting the bargain that a crooked cop offered him. He was consumed by guilt, and we witnessed his suffering in true accused fashion. He did not want to carry out the plan, but an FBI agent was able to convince him by using coercion. Naataanii's decision to choose grace over wrath was his moment of redemption. He saves Derek's life, but a sad turn of events causes Derek to lose it shortly after. The agony and shame of abandoning his clan were finally laid to rest by Naataanii's embrace. The stories are told from the defendant's point of view by the accused. The opinions of those who are oppressed are frequently seen as skewed. The Accused not only shows the cracks that damaged people's shoulders have, but also the cause and impact of those chips. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe our channel.